ayahuasca teachers or masters or shamans, whatever you want to call it, they're chosen in a way.
Okay.
So you can go through the whole thing and your shaman can say, I'm sorry, I don't think you have what it takes.
We are back on the zoo, and I have a new friend, Danny Santos,
Yes.
astrologer, musician, a bunch of other amazing things, a shaman in the works.
I guess so.
No,
Training.
absolutely.
Training.
Yeah, so thanks for being here. He's Cuban, by the way.
Yes, yes.
Hey,
Now,
nice.
he's a Cuban that grew up in Michigan.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that, because as a Cuban that grew up in Miami, it's two completely different.
different.
It's very different experience. Like I was the only Cuban in my whole center of gravity. So.
Man, I'm sure everybody was curious, and you're like, oh man, okay, when I go to Miami and visit my cousins, I can tell you more about that.
Exactly.
So I met Danny at a party, at Rich's Nuts party.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Yeah, we had Rich here,
He was
and he was
great,
doing
too.
tarot cards. He was doing tarot cards, and everybody loved the tarot cards he was doing. So he does a lot of astrology work. So tell me first of all how you got into astrology. What did your parents think when,
Good Lord. So my parents are both doctors, and they really wanted me to be a doctor. As a child, that was an idea that was just constantly run, and it's.
You saw it every day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad comes home, he's worked with patients. I actually worked for him as a medical assistant for a couple years.
Okay.
So in that process, like they were really hoping that I was going to bite the bait, but when I was 11 years old, I started studying astrology.
11?
11.
Wow,
So,
you're advanced.
What drew you to it?
my mom just offhandedly said, like, you and grandma are both Aquariuses. And I was like, what is that? And turns out she was wrong. I'm a Pisces. Grandma's a Pisces. So.
Okay.
Did you have a telescope?
I did not, but my dad did have a telescope one day. Like, he rented it or built it, and we never used it again. And I remember looking up at Mars and just being like, wow.
Wait, hold on. It's astrology, not astronomy. No, I'm just kidding. I know the connection. But go ahead.
Of course, of course. But no, I just, from that point on, I started studying all of the signs of the zodiac, and being a Pisces, they say that's a combination of all of them. So I read
Because it's the last one.
It's the last
I'm an
sign.
Aries, which
We're
is
the
the first
wise
one.
ones.
That's
I'm a
right.
Pisces too.
You're a Pisces
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Yes. What about you?
We hug it out.
Yes.
Actually, you know.
Capricorn, professionalism, career, get it going.
Absolutely.
Nikki got it going on.
No, but I just felt incredibly drawn to it. I'm what they call an archetypal astrologer, so very similar to someone like Freud or Carl Jung, where you use astrology as metaphor and as a way of understanding people. So I like to say astrology is a measuring tool. You can see, all right, this is what your chart, your astrology says. How can you make yourself a better person by overcoming your natural tendencies?
Wow.
Now, you know, it's funny that I was kind of poking fun at the astronomy part, but I mean, the reason when I was, you know, growing up, and I definitely rebelled against, you know, being a Cuban Catholic, going to Catholic school and all that
For
stuff.
sure.
I
I
guess
know
I
that
wouldn't.
very well.
Yeah, wouldn't say I was ever an atheist. Definitely became agnostic, and astrology was just something that was like woo woo to me. It was just,
Yeah.
you know, silly, and I didn't, and I appreciate science, so I didn't, you know, I thought it was completely just, you know, over the top, not over the top, but like made up, you know.
Yeah.
But as I started like getting into spirituality and started learning about also, you know, even more science, you start understanding that gravity, you know, actually interacts with the ethereal planes. Quantum physics even says that gravity actually is the one major force in the universe that goes into what they believe are other dimensions, lighter dimensions. Now, if you believe in a soul, the soul lives in those lighter dimensions. So,
sure.
what is the thing with the planets and the stars, and why is it that, you know, when you're born on a certain day, the alignment affects you in a certain way?
Yeah, well, you know, the best answer I can give is Carl Jung talks about this concept of synchronicity. So everything in the universe is interconnected. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, or the idea when the moon is full, we feel the pull of the ocean get stronger. You know, it brings out what they call lunatics, because the moon, Luna. So when we have that pull from the full moon, our bodies are 70% water. So of course that's got to affect us on some kind of personal level as well, right? So now think about something like Jupiter or Neptune, these planets that are massive, and each one of those represents a different aspect of life. So when you have this pull, that's that synchronicity of the universe. We're all working divinely together. And it's kind of like humanity, whether you have somebody who's peeling potatoes or running the world, like on some level they're still contributing to the grand scale.
That's so cool. No, I feel like I've tried to merge it too, right? Because I have like a science background, but then I'm also spiritual. So I'm like, how does it connect? And I think that's where I like I haven't like dug too much into it, but that's how I take it into account, because I do know about some of the astrology signs, you know? So when you'll be like, I'm an Aries, I can already like Obviously, not that I'm prejudging you, but I'll be like, oh, I can look out for these things and see if they are true or not. You know, I'm not saying you are exactly like that, but to the extent that it's like there's energy that is created with certain things.
It's an influence.
Yeah,
It doesn't define you. I always
influences
tell
everything.
people, look, I don't think that you absolutely defined by this sign. First of
Right.
all, there's a star chart. There's more than just your, but it's an influence. And I think that it's the universe's way of making sure that there's diversity in personalities and destinies, right?
100%.
Imagine if we were all the same person.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Wait, so I do have a question though, because I obviously know about like the sun, right? The sun is your main.
Yeah, it's your ego.
Okay, then there's the moon, and that's how others perceive you.
Yeah, what
or is
Freud
that
would call the id, the unconscious response.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's your reactions to life, how
your
you feel about
reactions?
things,
And then you have your rising.
which is the super ego, how you are checking yourself against, it's kind of like that disciplinarian part of yourself. I have to be like this, or other people perceive you as that, and you're trying to live up to it.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
it's kind of psychological in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Is Freud the one that says that you're turned on by your mother? I just want to make
Yes.
sure I have
Yeah,
all.
the
Okay.
And the Freudian
complex.
And he
slips,
did a lot of
right?
cocaine.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to clear that up really quick.
Yeah.
You know, I think that so many people today, you know, they think that they're astrologers, and you're legit. So what do you think? Like, if you're asking somebody, you know, because everybody wants to give you their. I had a friend that everywhere she'd go, "You're a Capricorn, you're a Pisces," and I was like, "Okay, there's no more signs left. You're out." So what do you think separates somebody from really knowing the difference? Like, what work has to go into
makes a
that to
fake and
really
what
understand
doesn't?
it?
Ooh, well, I don't want to shame anybody's game when it comes to being an astrologer.
Laura, if you're watching, I am.
Well, for somebody who's like anything in life, if you've dedicated yourself to a practice and you've studied, you've put in your hours. I like to think like that 10,000 hours concept. The only thing I've probably spent 10,000 hours on in my life is astrology. So that's like the thing that runs my life. I always say first and foremost, I'm an astrologer, then a spiritual life coach, and then a healer. Like that's my bread and butter, is knowing the signs and how they work. So what really sets it apart? Practice.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Danny Santos.
Welcome back to the zoo. We are here with astrologer Danny Santos, who's given us all the information. Now, I know a lot of us on this, show, we're very fascinated by ayahuasca.
Yes.
And I've never done it. I want to, but I'm afraid what I'll say. Because I know people reveal a lot. I'm afraid that I would tell you I'd get like turned on by my middle school gym teacher or something. that
Freudian
you didn't know.
slip.
Yeah. What's been the craziest thing somebody said to you on ayahuasca?
So I'm actually just training to be an ayahuasca
Okay.
shaman. I don't even know if I can use that word, because if you're training for that, you're not supposed to call yourself a shaman. It's said that only other people can call you that. But I'm in the training of being a medicine man, a curandero, somebody who's bringing healing to people. So it's not like alcohol where you're drinking it and you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with ayahuasca, you are a little out of your mind, but you can control what you're saying. With ayahuasca, though, there have been times where I'm under the usage of it, and I'm feeling like, oh my God, this is so intense, and I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. And ayahuasca literally stops the visuals, and she's like, go, my son. And you can communicate with it kind of, and like if you need to take a moment to relax, she'll be there for you.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming for some people, especially if they've never experienced like a psychedelic, or some people who've never even tried, cannabis or anything like that. But it can feel very familiar to everybody. I feel for you it feels familiar. I feel because you're already so connected that you go into that space and it's like I know the spiritual space.
Yeah.
Right. For me, so it gets intense, and my thing is to learn to let go to it. Because whatever you're gonna get, you gotta surrender to it. If you fight it, and I've seen very strong, hard, micromanaging people that were brave enough to go ahead and do it, but they're fighting it the entire time, and it's a struggle.
I love and respect you guys. I'd love to do you really need to see me shit my pants? and
No,
be dripping
somebody
down
will help
with
you
the
go to the
runs?
bathroom.
Okay.
And it's beautiful when you're on the toilet on ayahuasca. You have amazing visions.
It's
I
like
gotta
a
be honest
fire
with you.
hydrant.
So what does the training involve?
Sure. So I'm currently training through the Shipibo tribe. It's a lineage out of Peru.
And that's the tribe, just to give a little context, that's mostly associated with the use of ayahuasca, the Icaros, which are the chants that you
Yes.
right, go ahead.
You know so much. I love it. But this tribe, I believe it is the oldest lineage of ayahuasca. It's kind of where it originated. Somewhere, someone along the line thought to mix this root and this leaf together, and boom, ayahuasca was created, and they were found thousands of miles apart from each other. But the teacher training involves, you have to kind of get your hours in, like me as an astrologer. Well, this weekend, after I leave this recording, I'm going for my 15th and 16th ceremonies.
Wow.
And then next week, I'm going to be doing a 9-day teacher training kind of. But you don't just become a teacher overnight. Ayahuasca teachers or masters or shamans, whatever you want to call it, they're chosen in a way.
Okay.
So you can go through the whole thing and your shaman can say, I'm sorry, I don't think you have what it takes. So I'm trying. I'm
You
trying
kind
to
of just have to be open to whatever.
yeah, I'm trying to be humble and say like, this is what I'd like to dedicate my life to, and like, please, like I want to do it so bad. And with the training, you do what's called a diet. So the purpose of the diet is to merge a plant to your soul as a means of learning the lesson of that plant. And if you're going to be holding ayahuasca ceremonies for others, you need to have enough plant diets in your system so that if things go wrong, you can call in the spirits.
So you're a vegetarian now?
Right now I'm eating chicken and white fish, but doing a really clean kind of diet.
You know, you said that you did it a couple times. How does your mindset change from the first time you did
That's
it
what
to
I
the
was
last time you
thinking,
did it?
yeah.
Like,
Sure. So the first time I did ayahuasca, I lost 60 pounds afterwards. But then I ended up gaining it back because I was working in entertainment under some really intense people, and then I worked as a personal assistant, which I loved. But that was the first thing I noticed, like the ability to stop my patterns was really powerful at the beginning. And then over time, like healing relationships with ancestors, I had a visitation from my grandfather in one of my ceremonies, and his spirit was with me.
Oh, wow.
And like I cried so much. We got to heal up some unspoken conversation about like why I was like still mad at him for a reason that wasn't even like didn't even matter. So to walk around and not carry that with you, that's a big deal.
Healing is the biggest thing. I mean, a lot of times I've gone into it wanting like certain answers for what I'm going to do in my life, like, you know, my dreams and goals and all that stuff. But a lot of times you're just thinking about certain things in the past that you don't typically think about, and you're able to resolve them. In that state of mind, like you can think of traumatic stuff and it just heals, you know. You have an amazing energy, and I think that everything that you're striving for is not only going to happen for you, but for everyone that comes into contact with you. It's going to happen for them because we need people like you. You know, I made a short that you can see on Latin Nation where I kind of poke fun at some of the pretentious people.
I saw it.
and I think that you're the right person. Like you're the right kind of person that we need, kind of holding that space. You know, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you came from Michigan. I like finding Cubans here in LA. I don't want too many of us in the room, though.
Right.
Two's enough.
We got enough power here.
There's actually a third. Did you see Rick Sanchez? But you're not from Miami. Rick Sanchez was a legend in Miami. We have him next. Okay, so on that note, so where can people follow you?
People, you can follow me on Instagram at Santos Crystal Visions, and that's pretty much it. If you want to book a session, message me in there.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming, Danny.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll be right back with the legend, Rick Sanchez.